Battle control initialized.
Hello there, comrades and cannon fodder. Devoid again. Hope you're all well, and welcome to my latest game. I'm on Eden Lake map. I've said before, this is my favourite map. I'm using France because I'm still trying to practice with allies and trying to improve. So this is one of my practice games. Yeah, I'm going straight for the contestable oil derrick. I nearly always do. And I order 10 rifles, send them straight to the oil derrick, and after 10 rifles my engineer will come out, and then 2 more rifles. So I've got a presence there before my engineer arrives. He did well to call the engineer away there. Very close. So yeah, that's what I'd do. If I was knocked back away from contesting that central oil derrick, I'd go straight for this one. And then the hospital, and deal with that later, maybe when I've got a scout vehicle. Yeah, I've captured that one. Sending, I mentioned this time, not sent in previous videos about not sending all my rifles away, because 2 can scout for him and protect him pretty well enough after, you know, I've got a fair idea of the situation. Unless he ran around literally with all his rifles to head them off, there's not much of a threat, and I'd still see them coming with these guys. So a couple of rifles will do for that. And then I've got the production coming, so the engineer is on a shift command, so he captures the hospital straight away. And I'm obviously now positioning my rifle guards here and there, making sure power plants are covered, and reinforcing the central oil. My opponent's got 1 oil. I'm about to take 2. But he's captured his hospital, but there's no rush to capture the hospital. It's always better to go for the oil derricks first. There's his engineer down there. And I've mentioned before that allies don't need the hospital as much as Soviets, but they do still give you some view range, like, you know, a hospital. So if I was sending units around to attack him, or trying to find, you know, find a vulnerable place, and I just happen to be revealed, you know, it's worth having a little bit of extra view range around. Got some rifle scouts clashing. I'd normally send 2 out at a time for these distant ones, you know, for when they bump into a single rifle they can kill them. But it looks like I've just got single rifles in this case. Both pretty close in our production, a few seconds between us. Let's have a look. Our army values are very close as well. He's got a ranger, I went for a light tank. Both got our engineers. We're very close at the moment. Let's see, check on the economy. We've both earned 13. You know, both earned very similar. So we're close at the moment, very close in our progress. In situations like this, the first engagement's going to be very important, because whoever wins the first engagement has got a big advantage that they can then hopefully take advantage of. Ranger, what's he up to? Hunting for an engineer, maybe? I wonder what he was thinking with the ranger sat there, because it's got an engineer inside. It's a shame that he died. He ended up being a veteran in the hospital. Hopefully he'll heal him, so he's a full health veteran after winning that duel. I've got a tank guarding my expansion. While I'm about to place my first expansion refinery here, And now I've done that, I'm moving my other MCV, making use of the spare time so that I can have a new position to set up another expansion. My MCV will be in place when my refinery is ready built. Plus, when that refinery started to build, both MCVs were deployed, which means it'll build slightly quicker. So when a building is about to finish and you can place it, have both your refineries, both your MCVs set up as conyards, and that way the next building, when it starts to build, it'll build quicker for having two. Because if you've got one set up and one not, your building speed will be the speed of one conyard. But if you've got two set up, it'll be a bit quicker. So that's worth bearing in mind when your buildings like war factories and refineries that take a while, when they're about to start building, try and have your conyards all deployed. You know, while he's moving out, look, any building, even if it's not one of those important structures, I'll deploy and place it, because he can drive off, and because he's got a place structure behind him, it'll give him more building placement area. Nice engagement. I've got those tanks positioned okay. I need all my troops fighting though. Yeah, he should have kept that tank tucked in, and he's got a better position if he did. My tank's not up front in the middle, but it did enough to win. But yeah, this MCV now, you see, he's moved ahead, and I'm placing my my barracks. He can now place a refinery here, and then when he's placed the refinery, the next one will start building while I've got two MCVs deployed as conyards, so it'll build a bit quicker, and I can move it straight there and place it when it's ready. And that will only take a moment, so then I can move this one out in the meantime. But it's just, you get used to working it out, your build order and stuff with, in the quickest way possible. I had a sense for him, he was attacking. You get a sense for how to set up your build order in the quickest way for the situation. It's wise to back off. Because, like having both construction yards deployed at the moment your important structures are about to build, and at what point they are, and it gets easier if you learn for a specific map and build order. They go together and complement each other, quickly spreading and deploying across a map and doing it with a good efficient build order. You just learn to do it and get used to it. So it's you do things like that, having your MCVs deployed when important structures start to build, always advancing and placing things efficiently. See, this little eco raid is moving out that, but it's caught him quite vulnerable here, this little raid. It's not very big, very powerful. I haven't got many rockets with it. In fact, there's only a few, but it's enough to disrupt him, call back his reserves. Let's have a look at our army size. 20 grand to 24, so with my army broken up into little groups like this, you can doing multiple attacks, a multi-prong they call it. I've got a little eco raid here, and then I've got a small force there. But with it split up, I'm not even doing a multi-prong. I'm just doing a little eco raid with the rest of my army broke up. So you can lose them in small groups like this. I didn't do very much with that group of units, and it wasn't meant to. It was supposed to be an eco raid, which it did, but I should have escaped with it. But I'm hitting him on this side because I know where his units are. They came here to defend his base, so I know this is vulnerable. I can move these guys in, bring up an MCV, bring up a barracks, and because I've got the tech, I'm building spies and engineers straight away, but I've realised the enemy's arrived in force, so I've got to back off quickly. I underestimated his response there, but he's vulnerable here because of it, and I've just ordered them there, but I knew that was, I knew to sort that out if it ever happened. But yeah, I've got him there where he's vulnerable. I need to destroy that. There, good. But these guys backed off, survived in force. I've got my engineer and spies there. There's Mr. Bond in his tuxedo. I've been expecting you, Mr. Bond. And there's another spy disguised as a rifle already. The enemy's not exactly loaded at the moment, but my engineers capturing these units here are holding it. So now my engineer's capturing, I can infiltrate with a spy look. He actually deployed that and did well to gun it down. So that was my first attempt. But here now I've got artillery in position. And these units here, while my attention's distracted, look. But I've overrun that area, so that's a success. Even though I only got one infiltration and that. But I shouldn't leave all that idle. But I've got spies and engineers here. And artillery. And production close by, so I've got all the elements I need. There's nothing to stop this attack, but I know that I've got my assets to either side of it, so I can leave it. But yeah, I'm capturing here. And he can't sell it while I'm capturing it. And I've infiltrated and start capturing again. Excuse me. And then I've got another spy I can infiltrate at my leisure. And he can't sell that. So I've got another spy waiting nearby. And I can just reset the capture bar, look. So he can't build up any cash. And if he does, I'll have half of it. So, you know, I've got the chokehold tactic on him now. But his force here, I'm trying to buy time. See, I set my primary production there like it's gonna help. But a spy's lost there. But we're still infiltrating, and we have him on the reset capture bar, look. Even though all this is going on, I lost those choppers. That was a waste of a few assets there. But yeah, that's the important thing. Keep resetting that capture bar and infiltrating. He's got a far larger army than me now because I've been doing that. But yeah, I've still reset the capture bar and go wreck his main base with this force. It moved round from here. We've got a capture spy. Didn't quite reach it, so I was busy. And now I know I can destroy this force easily here, but I'm still trying to cope with this. See if my attention's here. I might leg it with the MCV if my attention is here. That might be what I'll do. And I've got an engineer on the move. There's spy infiltrating. That got a grand out of them. Yeah, my MCV is escaping. And yeah, plenty of infiltrations. Reset the capture bar. But at this point, I do want to capture these structures. So while I've got a spy on the way, I'm doing the chokehold, in which he's surrendered now. But I've got an infiltration there. Well, there's 700. So I'm still doing the chokehold, but after this, now I've got no thieves close by. I've ordered the engineer to go on a shift capture of all these structures here, so I can rebuild some of my base. He's trying to flatten him, look. But I've got construction here. Look, here we go. There's a bit of an engagement. That's better. Halts as soon as you're facing them, and I've got a decent formation. Yeah, I'm trying to keep this artillery piece alive. Look, there we go. Survived. And because I'm allies, I can repair my units. So if they survive, it's as good as anything. There we go. I didn't capture the SD at the end. He actually used a rifleman to kill it. So he did kill the engineer, but he sold the SD and that was the end of the game. No more structures left. But I had plenty, and that force of his that was about 30 grand here, it cut through a lot, and it even pushed me away from here as well. But it was, you know, insufficient, and I still had my main assets afterwards, so that became my main focus, protecting this and his economy by using the chokehold And as long as I still had my MCVs and I can still keep pumping out some units, he's going to run dry. You know, the opponent is. And then when you do catch him, go on a capture spree, because the engineers are always ready and on hand. So it seems to be a good, useful tactic. But there's my first engineer. Yeah, I often forget about him when I'm using tactics like holding the refineries with engineers. I forget about my original engineer sometimes, although it's not a mistake I like to make because it's a waste, but sometimes I find him sat all lonely on his own like that. But he did do well with the capture phase. He took all 3 oil derricks, he took my hospital, and we've had that oil derrick destroyed, but he earned me plenty of cash. So, yeah, that was a fairly fun game to get to practice with allies and get to use some different tactics with my spies and engineers instead of my Soviets with thieves. So it was nice fun game. I hope my viewers enjoyed it, and I hope the chokehold tactic was interesting. It's a bit shady, the chokehold tactic, where you keep the refinery under capture and keep resetting it, but for really competitive games, tournaments, it's a viable tactic. It's very good tactic, you know. So it's worth knowing, it's worth learning and practicing. You know, it is a shady tactic, but like I say, there's a place for it. You know, if you're in a competitive game or you're in a tournament, then you know, run them dry with the chokehold tactic. So I hope you enjoyed the game as well. Thank you very much again, and goodbye.
Battle control terminated.